Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego with the beautiful Karina. And we are waiting for our K1 visa to get adjudicated at the Service Center in California. And our NOA1 date is April 18th, 2022. So we are past our 12th month and headed into our 13th month of waiting and waiting and waiting. Just like you guys. And Karina is originally from Caracas, Venezuela, but she's living in beautiful Bogota, Colombia as a legal resident. And I live in the panhandle of Florida near Pensacola, north of Navarre Beach. And Navarre Beach is where we're going to get married, which is good. As soon as we get our visa approved, then we go to the MVC process. Then we got to get the embassy scheduled at the, oh, it's a mess. But we'll get it done. And this video, ladies and gentlemen, is about the beautiful country of Bolivia. Bolivia in South America. Come on along. We're going to talk about embassies and K1 visas and the country of Bolivia. Bolivia, officially called the plurinational state of Bolivia, is a landlocked country located in western central South America. And landlocked means they don't have a beach. And that's most unfortunate. But it is bordered by Brazil to the north and east, Paraguay to the southeast, Argentina to the south, and Chile to the southwest, and Peru to the west. So Bolivia is surrounded by beautiful people from beautiful countries. So they got good neighbors. And the seat of government and executive capital is La Paz, okay? While the constitutional capital is Sucre. Interesting. The largest city and principal industrial center is Santa Cruz de la Sierra on the Llanos Orientales, or the tropical lowlands, during the translation. It's mostly a flat region in the eastern part of the country. And 1/3 of Bolivia is within the Andean mountain range, like Colombia. Bogota, Karina lives in the Andes Mountains. They're all connected together. There is an area, it has a land area of 424,164 square miles, and Bolivia is the 5th largest country in South America after Brazil, Argentina, Peru, and Colombia. And alongside Paraguay, it is one of only 2 landlocked countries in the Americas. So Bolivia and Paraguay are both landlocked, okay? The country's population is estimated at 12 million and is multi-ethnic, including Amerindians, Mestizos, Europeans, Asians, and Africans. So it's a multi-diverse country, and that's great. Spanish is the official and predominant language, although there are 36 indigenous languages, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, that also have official status. So they're protected by the Bolivian government. And the most common indigenous languages spoken are Guarani, Aymara, and Quichua. Very interesting. And it's good to see the government protecting these indigenous languages. Now, the climate of Bolivia varies drastically from one ecoregion to the other. Okay, so from the tropics in the eastern Llanos to the polar freezing cold climate in the western Andes. Okay, so I will be, if we go to Bolivia for vacation in the future, we will go to the eastern lowlands, not to the polar region. The summers are nice and warm, humid in the east and dry in the west, which is good. Now, it rains it does rain quite often, which will modify the temperature, so the humidity is high, and there are strong winds also in Bolivia. Okay, so it's a different kind of place for weather. And there's also the phenomenon known as El Nino, which is a climatological phenomenon called El Nino. And when it takes place, it causes a lot of changes in the weather. Ooh. Bolivia has the world's largest lithium reserves, 2nd largest antimony reserves, whatever they are, and it also has the third largest iron ore reserves, 6th largest tin reserves, and the 9th largest lead, silver, and copper reserves, and the 10th largest zinc reserves. And there's also an undisclosed secret amount of reserves of gold and tungsten. And I can understand that they want to keep that secret, okay? And additionally, there's believed to be considerable reserves of uranium, of uranium and nickel present in the largely underexplored eastern regions of Bolivia. So on the east coast, there's a lot of uranium. And there also are diamond reserves present in some formations of the Serranias Chiquitanas in the Santa Cruz department. Now I know South Africa has got a lot of diamonds, but apparently Bolivia may have some too. Bolivia has the second largest natural gas reserves in South America. I think Colombia has got the number one spot there. And so Bolivia exports its natural gas, which brings in millions and millions of dollars per day in royalties, rents, and taxes for the country, which is good. And from 2007 to 2017, what is referred as the government take on gas, they received $22 billion in cash. How about that? And Bolivia has a great linguistic diversity as a result of its multiculturalism, and the Constitution of Bolivia recognizes 36 official languages besides Spanish. Okay? Now let's talk about food, my favorite subject. The traditional staples of Bolivian food, Bolivian cuisine, are corn, potatoes, quinoa, and beans. Sounds yummy. And these ingredients have been basically combined with a number of staples brought to the country by the Spanish, such as rice, wheat, beef, and pork. Okay? And Bolivian cuisine offers, it's different by geographical location. Like, for example, in western Bolivia, in the Altiplano plain, due to the high cold climate, the cuisine, they tend to use spices. So when it's cold, in the cold climate areas, they use hot spices, I guess, to heat you up. But whereas in the lowlands of Bolivia, more of the Amazonian regions, they use products consisting of fruit, vegetables, fish, and yuca. So where it's tropical Amazonia, they're more into the cool fruits. Sounds yummy to me. So the Bolivian food has been influenced by the Incas, the Aymara, and the Spanish also. And to a lesser extent, the cuisines of other neighboring countries like Argentina and Paraguay. So Bolivia has copied their food. And who can blame them? It all sounds so yummy, okay? And also European immigration to Bolivia introduced a lot of different foods from Germany, Italian, Basque, and other cuisines which have influenced the country. And the Spanish cuisine remains the primary influence, okay? So, you know, examples of Bolivian food would be arroz con queso, which is rice with cheese, charque, ají of noodles, sesi, fricassee, pico macho, which is beef sausages, onions, peppers, egg, and fries, topped with sauce. Woo! Saltinas, sopa de mani, that sounds like a hand soup, and silpancho. Sounds very good. Breakfast, which is called desayuno in Spanish. Although a Bolivian breakfast can vary, most Bolivians start their day with a black coffee, café tinto, and a piece of bread. Bolivians also like to have a tea break. Like the folks in England, they have their tea break. And tea breaks take place between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. at salons de tea. And that's translated into tea rooms. And these tea rooms often double as bakeries so that tea and pastries can be enjoyed together. Same is true in Bogota, Colombia. Cups of black tea are usually taken with biscuits, which is galleta in Spanish, galletas Marie, or traditional humantas, okay? And often Bolivians drink coca or herb tea when not having black tea. Interesting stuff, right? So lunch is the big meal of the day, and then it's time for dinner after tea. And dinner, or called cena in Spanish, is a lighter, more informal kind of affair than lunch, and usually takes place at 8 p.m. in the night time or later. And so they like to eat in Bolivia. But now let's talk about K-1 visas and the U.S. Embassy. Important information, okay? Now, the U.S. State Department in fiscal year 2022 approved 28 K-1 visas for the good citizens of Bolivia. The U.S. Consular agency is in Santa Cruz and reopened for normal business operations on January 30th, 2023. So it's back in business, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. The address to the U.S. Embassy in La Paz, Bolivia is right here. Okay, and the phone number to the U.S. Embassy in La Paz, Bolivia is right here. And then if you want to call them after hours, this number right here. And then if you want to email these good folks, this is immigration. The email address is right here. Now, we're glad you're with us, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You got to be patient through this whole process. It's a long road from K1 to K2, from K1 to the MVC, to scheduling the interview at the embassy. We know it's a long road. We know it's difficult, especially for folks who filed their K1 visas during the COVID era or just after the COVID era. But things are speeding up at the embassies, and soon you're going to get your K1 and K2 visas in your hand. Don't forget the kiddies. Get your visa interview scheduled. Be patient, be patient, be patient. And we will see you soon in the United States of America on an airplane flying to the United States. So we can't wait to see our friends from Bolivia get in here to the USA and start their lives.
I'll be back.
Now, before I sign off, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I want to say thanks to everybody watching us in the United States, in the Philippines, in India, Colombia, Nigeria, Jamaica, the United Kingdom, Dominican Republic, Brazil, Mexico, Kenya, Pakistan, Canada, Indonesia, Gambia, our friends in Ghana, Morocco, the United Arab Emirates, Ethiopia, Communist Hong Kong, Mauritania, Thailand, Algeria, Trinidad and Tobago, Japan, Costa Rica, Liberia, France, Germany, Peru, Guyana, Puerto Rico, Honduras, Syria, Bangladesh, Iraq, Burundi, Ecuador, Tunisia, Malaysia, Communist Vietnam, Communist Cuba, Sierra Leone, Uganda, Egypt, South Africa, and Communist Venezuela. There are people in Venezuela watching us too. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Mi alegra. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we'll see you soon. Stay patient, okay? Be calm. It's not a fast, rapid process, but you'll get your visa.
Okay, I'll talk to you later. See you later. Bye.